Tasha had finally done it. After months of searching, budgeting, and endless apartment tours, she was stepping into her dream apartment, a modern, sunlit space in the heart of the city. At 28, she had worked hard for every penny, juggling her demanding job and late-night freelance work. Now she deserved this moment, her own place, a fresh start, and the feeling that her life was finally her own. The apartment smelled faintly of fresh paint and polished wood. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting golden streaks across the living room. Tasha walked from room to room, imagining where she'd place her plants, her books, and the small art pieces she had collected over the years. She felt a thrill of excitement, a sense that anything was possible here. Unpacking, she hummed to herself, sliding boxes across the wooden floors, hanging curtains, and arranging furniture. Everything was perfect. Or, at least, that's what she told herself. It was only when she set down the last box that she noticed her phone buzzing. A message. "Congrats on the move. Hope you love the place." Tasha frowned. She didn't recognize the number. Maybe it was the previous tenant, she thought, and chuckled softly. Nothing alarming there. She replied politely, thanking the mysterious sender, and went about her evening. As night fell, however, Tasha began to notice little things. A chair slightly moved from where she remembered placing it. A soft click echoed somewhere in the apartment when she was alone. Her heart skipped when she thought she saw a shadow dart past the kitchen door. Her mind raced. Am I imagining things? Or is someone else here? The next morning, she found something that made her blood run cold. A small, almost invisible wire tucked behind the living room curtain. She pulled gently, and her fingers brushed something cold and hard. A tiny camera lens staring right into her living space. Questions flooded her mind. Who put it there? Why? Had someone been watching her already? Determined not to panic, Tasha sat down and took a deep breath. She knew she couldn't let fear take control, but she also knew she had to be careful. This was her home, and no one had the right to invade it. Little did she know, this discovery was only the beginning. Something, or someone, was already aware of her, and the apartment she thought was her sanctuary was about to reveal secrets she could never have imagined. If you've ever felt like someone might be watching you, wait until you see what Tasha discovers next. Don't miss the suspense. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow her story. Tasha couldn't shake the image of the tiny camera lens staring into her living room. Her hands trembled slightly as she inspected it more closely. It was small, almost unnoticeable unless you were paying attention. But now that she saw it, she couldn't unsee it. A chill ran down her spine. Who would do this, and why? Her curiosity won over her fear. Tasha decided she had to find out more. She carefully traced the wires back and discovered a small junction box behind the wall panel. It wasn't connected to anything in her apartment, at least not in a way she could easily see, but she knew this was part of a bigger setup. Heart pounding, she pulled out her phone and dialed the previous owner, a man named Greg. "Hi, I think there's a camera in the apartment," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Did you forget to remove it?" Greg's laughter came through the line, low and awkward. "Oh, that? Yeah, I totally forgot. But honestly, it's nothing to worry about. You might even find it interesting." Tasha froze. Interesting? How could it be interesting to secretly watch someone? Greg brushed it off, giving her vague reassurances, but the unease in Tasha only grew. Something about his tone didn't sit right. She felt exposed, like every moment she'd spent in the apartment could have been watched by someone else. Determined to understand the truth, Tasha connected the camera to her laptop. The screen flickered to life, and her own reflection stared back at her. She watched herself moving around, unpacking boxes, laughing at a silly thought. Every mundane, private moment had been recorded. Then she noticed it, a shadow, almost imperceptible, lingering in the corner of the footage. Someone had been there, watching her. The blood drained from her face. She hadn't imagined it. Someone had been inside her apartment while she thought she was alone. Fear and anger warred within her. Who was this person? Were they still watching? Tasha realized she couldn't trust anyone, not even Greg, the man who had sold her the apartment. She needed a plan, and she needed it fast. Her mind raced with possibilities. Should she call the police, confront Greg, or try to catch this intruder herself? Tasha's heart pounded, but her determination hardened. She wouldn't be a victim. She couldn't allow her life to be invaded like this. Little did she know, the shadow in the footage was only the beginning. Someone or something was already aware of her, and the next discovery would push her fear to a level she never imagined. Would you stay in a place knowing someone had been watching you? Tasha's about to uncover a shocking secret. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow every twist in her story. Tasha couldn't sleep that night. Every creak of the apartment, every flicker of light from passing cars outside made her heart race. She kept replaying the footage in her mind, the shadow in the corner, the feeling of being watched. Whoever it was had been inside her home without her knowledge. Then her phone buzzed. "You're smarter than I thought. Don't move anything." Tasha froze. The message came from an unknown number. Her pulse quickened as fear and curiosity battled inside her. Who could know she had discovered the cameras? And what did "don't move anything" even mean? She considered calling the police, but something in the message made her hesitate. Whoever had sent it was clearly aware of her actions, tracking her every move. She needed to be smart. Panicking wouldn't help. Determined not to let fear control her, Tasha set up her own hidden cameras around the apartment. If someone was watching her, she would watch back. She positioned them in corners, behind bookshelves, even in her bedroom, everywhere that could give her a clear view of anyone entering. That night, she slept lightly, one eye open, clutching her phone and listening for any unusual sound. Hours passed slowly, the quiet broken only by the occasional hum of the refrigerator or distant siren. She tried to convince herself it was safe. Maybe the message was a prank, or maybe it was the previous owner, Greg, trying to scare her. Suddenly, her cameras caught movement. Tasha's stomach dropped. A shadow moved across the hallway. She grabbed her phone and watched in horror as a figure quietly entered her apartment. The person moved with careful, deliberate steps, avoiding the places her cameras couldn't see. Then she saw it, a small note left on the kitchen counter. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. Written in neat, ominous handwriting were two chilling words: "You're next." Tasha's mind raced. The intruder hadn't taken anything, they hadn't spoken, but the message was clear. This wasn't just about watching, this was a threat. Someone was deliberately trying to scare her, testing her, and now she was a target. Fear threatened to overwhelm her, but Tasha took a deep breath. She refused to be a victim. She wasn't going to let this person control her life. This was her home, her space, and she would fight to protect it. Tasha knew she needed help, but not just anyone. She needed someone smart, someone who could help her catch the person who dared invade her life. She began making plans, determined to turn the tables. Little did she know, the person behind the cameras was already aware of her every move, and now the game had truly begun. Would you confront a stranger threatening your life or hide in fear? Tasha is about to take matters into her own hands. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to witness her brave fight. Tasha couldn't shake the fear that had gripped her since the note appeared. She realized that this was bigger than she had imagined. Someone had been watching her, threatening her, and now she had no idea who might strike next. She knew she needed help, but not just anyone. She needed someone tech-savvy, someone who could see what she couldn't and help her fight back. That's when she called Marcus, her childhood friend and a cybersecurity expert. Marcus had always been brilliant with technology, and Tasha trusted him completely. She explained everything: the hidden cameras, the mysterious messages, the shadowy figure in the footage. Marcus listened carefully, then spoke with a calm intensity that made Tasha feel slightly safer. "This isn't just a prank, Tasha. Whoever did this has been planning it for a long time, and judging by the setup, they didn't just target you, they've been watching others too," Marcus warned. Together, they pored over the footage and discovered something chilling: a hidden server in the apartment building that stored years of surveillance videos. Tasha felt her stomach drop. It wasn't just her apartment. They had been spying on the entire building. Neighbors, tenants, private moments, all recorded without anyone's knowledge. Marcus's fingers flew across his laptop. "We can trace it, Tasha. We can find out who installed the cameras and who's behind this, but you have to be careful. They'll know if we try to tamper with the system too soon." Tasha nodded. She felt a mix of fear and determination. She had been terrified moments ago, but now she felt a spark of empowerment. She wouldn't run. She wouldn't hide. She would fight. The next few days were tense. Tasha kept a close eye on the apartment, making sure every movement was monitored by her own cameras, while Marcus dug deeper into the system. They uncovered dozens of hidden cameras across multiple apartments, all linked back to one person: Derek, a man who lived in the same building. He wasn't just the previous owner's accomplice, he was the mastermind behind years of surveillance. Tasha felt a shiver run down her spine. Derek had been watching her, her neighbors, and countless other unsuspecting people, but now, with Marcus's help, she was ready to expose him. They devised a plan to gather irrefutable evidence and alert the authorities. But as they prepared, Tasha couldn't shake the feeling that Derek already knew he was onto him. Someone so meticulous wouldn't leave things to chance. The tension in the apartment was thick, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Tasha took a deep breath and squared her shoulders. She knew the road ahead would be dangerous, but she also knew she was no longer alone. With Marcus by her side, she felt ready to face whatever came next. Would you confront a mastermind secretly watching everyone around you? Tasha's about to turn the tables. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow every shocking moment. Tasha had spent days preparing. Every camera, every corner, every motion sensor was in place. She felt ready, armed with knowledge and backed by Marcus's tech expertise. But nothing could prepare her for the moment she would face Derek, the man who had invaded her life and terrorized the entire building. It was late afternoon when she spotted him in the hallway, pretending to be casual as he carried a small box. Derek smiled, the kind of smile that made Tasha's skin crawl, the one she remembered from the surveillance footage, the one that said he always knew more than he should. "Hey, Tasha," he said smoothly, trying to sound friendly. "I didn't expect to see you here so soon." Tasha kept her voice calm, hiding the pounding of her heart. "I could say the same about you." Derek chuckled, leaning against the wall. "You know, I always admired your courage. Most people would have fled by now." Tasha's eyes narrowed. "Courage or stupidity?" she asked, her voice sharp. "You've been watching me, terrorizing this building, invading people's privacy. How do you sleep at night?" Derek's expression didn't change, but there was a flicker of annoyance in his eyes. Now, let's not get personal. It's all in the past, isn't it?" Tasha subtly activated her phone's recorder, letting it capture every word. She had to be careful. Derek was cunning, and she needed evidence. "I know about everything," she said firmly. "The cameras, the hidden server, the footage. I know you've been spying on everyone, and it ends now." Derek's friendly facade faltered for just a second. "You think you can stop me? You're just one person." "Not just one person," Tasha said, her voice steady. "Me and Marcus. We have proof, and the authorities are already on their way." Derek's eyes widened slightly, the first crack in his confident demeanor. He straightened abruptly and dropped the friendly act. "You think you're clever, don't you?" he hissed. Tasha didn't flinch. She had imagined this moment 1,000 times. She stayed calm, projecting strength even when her heart raced. Clever enough to protect myself, and smart enough to make sure you can't hurt anyone else. For a long moment, silence stretched between them. Then, with a frustrated growl, Derek turned and stalked away, realizing he had been outmaneuvered, for now. Tasha exhaled, feeling a surge of empowerment. For the first time, she realized she wasn't the hunted. She was in control. But she also knew this was only the beginning. Derek was clever, and he would not give up easily. Tasha had to stay vigilant, ready for whatever came next. Would you confront someone who has been invading your life? Tasha just took a bold stand. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to see what happens next. Tasha felt a mix of relief and lingering tension after her face-to-face confrontation with Derek. She thought she had taken control, but deep down, she knew the battle wasn't over. With Marcus by her side, she decided to dig deeper into the surveillance system, determined to uncover the full extent of Derek's operation. Hours of meticulous investigation revealed something chilling. The hidden server didn't just store footage of her apartment. It contained videos from dozens of apartments across the entire building, dating back years. Every movement, every private moment of unsuspecting tenants had been recorded. Tasha's stomach churned. This wasn't just about her. It was a massive invasion of privacy on a shocking scale. Marcus leaned over her shoulder, pointing at the screen. This is huge. Derek wasn't just targeting individuals, he was controlling the entire building without anyone knowing. And this could ruin him legally. Tasha nodded, determination hardening. She carefully compiled the footage, documenting every detail. She and Marcus then contacted the police, providing evidence of Derek's surveillance crimes. Investigators acted swiftly, finding hidden cameras in apartments, hallways, and even in some private offices. Derek's empire of secrets was finally crumbling. For a brief moment, Tasha felt a sense of triumph. She had not only protected herself, but had helped expose a predator who had been manipulating and watching countless lives. The police praised her bravery and praised Marcus's technical expertise. But just as she began to relax, her phone buzzed again. Tasha's heart skipped a beat. A video file had been sent from an unknown number. She hesitated, then opened it. Her eyes widened in shock. The footage showed someone entering her apartment, walking past her bedroom and kitchen while Derek was already in police custody. The figure was careful, deliberate, and entirely unseen by her cameras. Tasha's stomach dropped. Another watcher. Someone even smarter. Someone who had managed to avoid detection completely. She realized with a jolt that the fight wasn't over. Derek might be behind bars, but the danger was far from gone. She looked at Marcus, who shared her concern. "This means there's someone else," he said quietly. "Someone who knew about Derek, or someone entirely new. Whoever it is, they're just as dangerous, and they know you're onto them." Tasha clenched her fists. Fear was there, yes, but so was resolve. She wasn't going to let another intruder control her life. She would stay vigilant, protect herself, and catch whoever dared enter her home next. Tasha realized something profound. Courage wasn't the absence of fear, it was acting despite it, and she was ready to face this new threat head-on. Just when she thought it was over, a new danger emerged. Would you stay calm if someone invaded your home? Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow Tasha's thrilling fight for survival. Tasha knew she couldn't let fear control her anymore. Derek had been exposed, but now there was someone else. A shadow in the apartment, a presence she couldn't ignore. Determined to take control, she and Marcus devised a plan to catch the new intruder. They spent hours analyzing the security footage, setting up new hidden cameras and motion sensors in every corner of the apartment. Tasha reinforced the doors, triple-checked the windows, and even set up a subtle alarm system designed to trigger if anyone stepped into restricted areas. She wasn't just preparing for an intruder, she was creating a trap. Night fell, and the apartment grew quiet. Tasha sat in the living room, phone in hand, watching the feeds intently. Marcus monitored remotely, ready to alert the authorities if anything happened. Hours passed, the tension thickening with each minute. Tasha's pulse raced, every sound amplified. The hum of the fridge, the distant siren, the wind brushing against the windows. Then, finally, the motion sensor lit up. Tasha froze, eyes locked on the feed. A figure slipped through the hallway, moving carefully, as if they knew exactly where to step to avoid detection. Her stomach twisted with anticipation. This was the intruder, someone who had been smart enough to evade her cameras before. Tasha stayed calm, guiding Marcus as he remotely activated a spotlight that illuminated the hallway. The figure froze. Tasha could see them clearly now. Her heart pounded as recognition hit. It was Greg, the former owner. Greg's face went pale as he realized he had been caught. He opened his mouth to speak, but Tasha held up her phone. "I have everything on record, Greg. The cameras, the alarms, the sensors. You're finished." Greg tried to justify himself, claiming he had only been curious and helping Derek, but Tasha wasn't fooled. She could see the guilt, the fear, and the desperation in his eyes. She calmly moved toward the phone to call the police, her hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her. Within minutes, law enforcement arrived. Greg was arrested on the spot. Relief washed over Tasha, a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. She had faced not one, but two intruders and had come out victorious. Sitting back on her couch, Tasha felt a profound sense of empowerment. She had taken control of her life, her home, and her safety. The ordeal had tested her courage, but it had also proven her resilience. She realized that vigilance, intelligence, and determination could turn fear into power. Even though the immediate threat was gone, Tasha knew she would never be careless again. Her apartment was her sanctuary, and she would protect it at all costs. Courage and strategy helped Tasha catch the intruder. Would you be brave enough to face someone in your home? Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to see the thrilling conclusion. Tasha sat on her couch, the weight of the past weeks finally settling on her shoulders. The intruders, Derek and Greg, were behind bars, and the authorities had praised her courage and quick thinking. But the experience had changed her. Her apartment, once a sanctuary of excitement and dreams, had become a battlefield where fear had tested every ounce of her strength. She looked around, noticing every corner, every surface, imagining the possibilities of future threats. But instead of fear, she felt empowerment. Tasha realized that knowledge and vigilance were her greatest weapons. She began upgrading her apartment with advanced security systems, motion detectors, smart locks, reinforced doors, and a sophisticated network of hidden cameras that she now controlled. Every entry point, every potential vulnerability was accounted for. Yet it wasn't just about technology. Tasha knew that her real power came from her courage, her intelligence, and her determination to never be a victim again. She reflected on the journey that had started with a seemingly innocent move into a dream apartment and escalated into a life-or-death game with strangers who invaded her privacy. Every fear, every anxious moment had shaped her into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone unafraid to stand up for herself. The city outside her windows was alive with its usual chaos, but inside, Tasha felt a calm sense of control. She could laugh again, enjoy her home, and embrace the life she had worked so hard to build. She also realized that she could help others. Sharing her story became a mission, showing how vigilance, smart thinking, and courage could protect lives. Tasha poured herself a cup of tea, setting it down by the window. She smiled, thinking about how far she had come. This apartment, once a symbol of dreams, had now become a symbol of triumph. She had faced fear, confrontation, and danger, and emerged victorious. Looking at the skyline, Tasha whispered to herself, "I'm ready for whatever comes next." She knew challenges might appear, but she also knew that she had the strength to face them. No intruder, no threat could ever take away her peace again. Her journey was a testament to the power of determination, intelligence, and bravery. Tasha's story was no longer just about survival, it was about empowerment. And as the sun set behind the city, casting a golden glow over her apartment, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was more than a new beginning, it was a new life, built on vigilance, courage, and unshakable confidence. Tasha turned fear into power and claimed her home back. Would you have the courage to do the same? Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow more thrilling stories of courage and survival.